Hey, how's it going? Everything is okay, I guess. Hmm, what's going on in my mind? Even though Terrace House is, what, 8 years old now? 8, 9 years, well, not 9. This part, anyway, so 8, 14. It was 8 years old when it started. 8, 7, 6 years old now. This particular section is the final season. It's kind of sad to know that it finished. Um, and it really improved my Japanese. I'm so blessed that there's Japanese subtitles as well, because I think without it, previously when I was watching, I was just following along the English subtitles. So if I then thought back to the time when it got released. I think I heard about it, but wasn't really into it because I think it was billed as a Japanese Big Brother, which it is slightly. But in this case, they don't just stay in the house; they go about their life. And the ex housemates, they still appear on the show. They don't, and then even one of the housemates moves back into the house. So, um, as well as it's not it's not scummy like Big Brother. It's not um, like a Western take on love, and kind of made me realize as well that you know uh, yourself is your own private entity, and then any touching or something is kind of an invasion of that privacy. Um, in terms of the Eastern Japanese way of thinking about love, which actually, watching more and more of this show, is very understandable. Because, I mean, I would feel a bit weird if uh, someone just started touching me. Anyone, a guy or a girl, right? And I think that really resonated with me uh, in one episode when there was a photo shoot with the main guy and this other girl when they were having a photo shoot, and there was this particular pose where I just saw on her face that she was frightened, she was trembling because she'd never been put in that position before, and there's people around. It wasn't even sexual. It was just the intimacy level was so high and it was so nerve wracking for her that not broke down, but she made a face of, "This is very uncomfortable for me." And he said in Japanese, just give your best, hold in there, hang on in there. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense, you know. And I think in the Western world, it's a little different. Obviously, there's a lot more touching, if we can go that way. And I don't mean that in a sexual context. I just mean that in a general context. Um, and then there's different steps of saying you like someone. There's flat out saying you like someone, which is quite a high level. There's having an interest in someone. There's wanting to get to know someone. There's wanting to have relations with someone. Like, that's the exclusive part, I guess. So if you just want to know someone better, that's just you want to be better friends. If you have an interest in someone, that can come before or after, right? Because you're interested in someone, as in kininaru, you you're intrigued. Something makes you want to find out more about them. So it's shiritai, right? And And then we all know ski, but that's more internal, where you feel that you do like them, and you like them more than friends. And then there's skiatte or skia, where you've really considered your feelings, and then you would like the other person, to go out with you. So that makes sense to me. And I think previously, thinking back, I was just jumped in there a bit too quickly. Even in the Western world, that would put people off, right? Because you need time to get to know someone. That just makes sense. And even though you might fall for someone at like love at first sight, doesn't mean that you necessarily will get to know them. Well, anyway, that makes sense to me. When in the past, I think maybe movies and TV shows make it so that you shouldn't have like a getting to know period. That if you want the romance and the passion, that you need to kind of jump straight into it. Whereas the show is saying to me that if you do that, if you just jump straight in, then it's probably going to be fucked up, and you can't recover from that. You can't just be friends afterwards, or it's going to be very difficult to just be friends afterwards. There's many interesting characters in this. They say it's unscripted, but I have a feeling some scenes are prompted rather than unscripted. So the directors or the producers will say to the housemates, talk about this, we're filming it. Yeah. That's what I think anyway. And relating to that, being in the current worldwide situation, feeling is kind of samishi, kanishi, kanashi, because there's no one to talk to, just me and this video recording. There's no one else out there to talk to. When I think, can I pick up the phone and call anyone? There's no one. So that's the samishi part. Not really samishi because I never had anyone in the first place, so more kanashi. Kanashi no kanji. Yeah. And knowing that it's going to end, and probably the other series, because there's different series. Like this one is in Kamakura. Then the next one is in Tokyo. Why I say it like that? In Tokyo. And then the one I'm also watching, it's in another place. And then there's a Aloha State one in Hawaii. I checked out one episode of that. The Japanese is kind of not as smooth and flowing, but they are Japanese. And I guess because it's in Hawaii, it sounds more like a foreigner speaking Japanese. But it's fine, it's all Japanese. And it's just, I think it's really improving my Japanese in terms of listening skills anyway. And it's good that I have the Japanese text subtitles to follow along with. And I'm winding back and forth a lot because the conversation is at that speed, right? And I might catch something and then look up something in the dictionary, which is fine at this point. And then once this is over, I guess move on to the Tokyo one, watch that. And then I want to come back to this one at some stage because there's a lot of emotionally filled things. And then I thought, the West give Eastern Japanese, Chinese, Koreans such a rap when it comes to their emotions, that they can't express their emotions. Well, there's so much emotion expressed in this. You feel the whole spectrum, and yeah, perhaps it's to do with the background music at the same time as the conversation. That's just being a good producer of a TV show. And if it was just conversation, maybe you wouldn't feel that. But it is what it is. It's effective, right? Yeah. So I think that's all I want to say about. That's all I want to say about that. So far. Yeah.